Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Monday, for the start of the week, October 24th slate of NBA action. Man, I'm super excited to dive into. We've actually had a pretty good start here to the NBA season. Hopefully we can go ahead and continue that into week 2. I found a couple lines that seem a little trappy, so I kind of stayed away from those. I found some plays that I did really like, though. But before we go ahead and dive into those plays that I do like, did just want to go ahead and say that we are still currently on the road to 8,000 subscribers. Wow, it's been so long since I've actually that I've had to say 7,000. But we are now currently on the road to 8,000 subscribers. Once again, you guys have been showing some insane love and some insane support. So thank you guys so much for all that. But let's go ahead and do that. Our giveaway for the NBA jersey will be as of tomorrow, so it will be in Tuesday's video. So make sure that you guys do check that out. But without any further ado, just a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do. And thank you guys so much for giving me such a small channel, such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me. So much more than you guys will ever know. So without any further ado, let's do a quick recap as of yesterday. Went 2-2. Following a sweep, going 2-2, losing a little bit of juice. I'm perfectly fine with that. But both of our plays that we did end up losing were extremely close. So at the end of the day, I would take these 10 out of 10 times once again. So we did have Clint Capella over 10.5 rebounds versus Charlotte at minus 115 odds. I really like this play a lot. This was one of my favorite plays. It was the first play that stood out to me. I loved it. But Clint Capella, he comes out and gets 6 rebounds in the first quarter, and then unfortunately doesn't really get very many. I think he gets 1 in the second, 0 in the third, and then picks up 3 in the fourth. So ends up having 10. So if we lost that one right on the hook, definitely unfortunate. Nothing you can do about that. But Clint Capella started out really good. I really thought this was no sweat. But as I always say, a game is never over until it's over. But we did have Zion over 23.5 points versus Utah. Ends up hitting this in the third quarter, so it ended up working out. He did make this a little bit sweaty, though. He was right at 24 for most of the game. He was at 24 for most of the fourth quarter, and then I think he hit the over 24.5 with 3 minutes left. I saw a couple other people on that one. So, that was definitely one that you would have been on the edge of your seat for if you took it at 24.5. Then we had Lonnie Walker over 14.5 points versus Portland. Another one that definitely made me sweat a little bit. Lonnie Walker gets off to a hot start. He scores 8 points in the first half. Definitely starts to slow down after that, though. Didn't play too much of the second and the third quarter, but he ends up coming through for us in the fourth. So that one ended up working out for us. Then we had the Wizards, plus 3.5 versus the Cavs. If you guys watch this game, you guys know. But they were down by 4 in regulation. They end up, scoring, getting a steal, scoring again, sending it to overtime. And in overtime, with a minute and a half left, maybe 2 minutes left, Kristaps Porzingis misses a free throw, then turns right around after the free throw. It turns the ball over. Then after that, Bradley Beal misses a free throw. And then they end up losing and they don't cover. It was definitely so unfortunate. If we would have just kept it in regulation, they missed that layup, they missed that, they didn't get that steal, something like that, we definitely would have been having a 3-in-1 day. But, it is what it is. It is sports betting at the end of the day, but ended up 2-2, definitely a lot better than it could have been. So I'm not going to complain about that. We ended up 2-2 on our plays as of yesterday. Let's go ahead and dive into today's, though. So, the first two that I'm going to talk about, they are a little bit juiced. I will say that these two I am going to throw into a little bit of a parlay, so I want to stress that. So, let's go ahead and get those first two out of the way. First one, Tobias Harris over 1.5 threes versus Indiana at minus 140. Once again, like I said, it's a little bit juiced. I'm going to throw this into a parlay, though, because I think this has a great chance to hit. So far this year, he has 3 3-pointers, 1 3-pointer, and 3 3-pointers so far over the course of the season. And he's actually shot a decent amount of attempts as well. He's had 6, 4, and 6 attempts so far from the three-point land. So far, he's been very solid. And the Pacers, they give up the 4th most threes in the entire NBA. So the Pacers give up a ton of threes, and Tobias Harris is going to be one of those guys that is going to be on the perimeter, James Harden's going to do his thing. James Harden's going to come off pick and rolls, and Tobias Harris is going to be one of those main guys that it's going to be open for it. Also, Indiana, 6th fastest pace in the entire NBA. So they play at a very, very fast pace just outside that top 5. And the over-under is set to 226, which it doesn't seem like super high, but this is the highest this year for any Philadelphia game so far, which is actually kind of crazy. So they do expect quite a bit of scoring here for a Philadelphia game. And honestly, so do I. So I think that this is a really good spot here. All we're asking for Tobias is just 2 made threes. We took this prop a lot last year. Hopefully it starts off good for us once again. So that is going to be our first play of the day. Tobias Harris over 1.5 threes versus Indiana at minus 140. Now the other parlay piece that I do like, we're going to be going with Julius Randle, under 4.5 assists here versus Orlando at minus 140 odds. Now, I like this for a couple different reasons. The first one is the history is on our side. Julius Randle has had 17 career matchups versus Orlando, and he's only hit the over in 4 of them. So he is 13-4 to this line, so I think that it's a really good spot. Magic also allow the most points per game to opposing power forwards and the 6th fewest assists per game. Now, why I like this so much is because I think Julius Randle actually has a pretty good night scoring the basketball. And with that being said, if he starts to get things going, I just don't really foresee him passing the ball. Now, Julius Randle, so far, he's played 2 games this year. That's as much as the Knicks have had, obviously. But he had 0 assists in the season opener, and he had 6 in game 2. So he's definitely been kind of up in the air. And this line is right in the middle of that. So I get it. But Orlando is actually 19th in pace. Despite having a very, very young roster, they're still in the 19th. So they're just outside that bottom 10 when it comes to pace. And I definitely think that, the Knicks, normally they don't play at a super fast pace anyway. So I definitely think that there's a pretty good chance for this one to hit. Though I'm going to go ahead and parlay those two just for a little bit more value. So that is going to be our second play of the day. Julius Randle, under 4.5 assists versus Orlando at minus 140 odds. Now, for our third play of the day and the final player prop, this is going to be a plus value, so it's going to make up for the 2 juice ones that we had. We're taking Fred VanVleet under 3.5 rebounds here versus Miami at plus 125 odds. Now, this line is very, very low, but he's still hit it in 2 of his 3 games so far this year. He's had 2, 7, and 2 rebounds so far this year. And last game versus Miami, which is going to be the same opponent that they're having this time, he only had 2 of them. So, with that being said, I just think that this is a pretty good spot to take the under. Also, the Heat allow the 11th fewest rebounds over, just in general, to opposing teams, and they allow the 8th fewest to opposing point guards. So, they don't allow a lot of rebounds in general, but to that point guard position, it's even better. Also, I think that the matchup is going to be kind of one where we're going to see Fred VanVleet on the perimeter a lot. He's going to more than likely be matched up on someone like Lowry, Hero, Strus, all these guys that are very solid three-point shooters. And if that's the case, I just don't really foresee Fred VanVleet getting to that 4 rebounds mark. I think it's going to take a lot of long rebounds for Fred to be able to hit that over. And I just think that it's a really good spot to take the under here. Also, if you take a look at some of the players that are going to be on the floor with Fred, you look at a guy like Bam Adebayo, obviously a very long defender. We also have Jimmy Butler, who's just a very good rebounder if he wants to be, sort of thing. Also, Siakam. Siakam's another player that is a tall, athletic big. OG, tall, athletic big. Scotty Barnes, tall, athletic big. It's just going to be very tough for a guy like Fred VanVleet, who's a little bit shorter than them, a little bit smaller than them, to be able to get some of those rebounds, unless if it's long rebounds. So that is going to be our third play of the day. I actually really like this one for plus value. Fred VanVleet under 3.5 rebounds versus Miami at plus 125 odds. Now for our fourth and final play of the day, we're running it back. We're going with the Grizzlies -2 here versus the Nets at minus 110 odds. I actually like this because this line doesn't make sense. Why are the Grizzlies favored in this matchup? The Grizzlies they're a team that has injury concerns, obviously. The Grizzlies just came off a 41-point loss to the Mavericks. A 41-point loss. Brooklyn, they're coming off of a massive win here versus Toronto, where we saw 2 teams that were just going at it head-to-head. Kyrie hit some big shots. Kevin Durant hit a big shot. Ben Simmons is still trying to get into the offense just in general. But if you look at the spreads, Memphis, 0-2-1 against the spread. Brooklyn, 1-1 against the spread. The only one that is going to be out for Brooklyn is going to be Seth Curry, which I think that Seth Curry is definitely a valuable piece to that team. But I don't think that Seth Curry is going to be enough to make this Brooklyn team not favored. Why are the Grizzlies not favored, or why are the Grizzlies favored? I just don't get it. I think that this is a trap game for a lot of people to be taking the Nets, and I get it. But I have to go with the Grizzlies here. I just feel like we could get a lot of injury news later in the day with a lot of guys resting, and I think that the Grizzlies can go ahead and get it done here. So that is going to be our fourth and final play of the day. Grizzlies -2 here versus the Nets at -110 odds. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we are still currently on the road to 8,000 subscribers. We're already a quarter of the way there. So once again, thank you guys so much for all the support. But without any further ado, that's going to do it for me. This is King Sarah signing out. Peace.